This episode is brought to you by Shopify. Do you have a point of sale system you can trust, or is it a real POS? You need Shopify for retail. From accepting payments to managing inventory, Shopify POS has everything you need to sell in person. Go to shopify.com/system, all lowercase, to take your retail business to the next level today. That's shopify.com/system.
Wyndham Hotels and Resorts makes travel possible for all. Whether it's the long haulers looking for a great cup of coffee, a roomier rest for the on-a-whim road trippers, or a place to make summer memories with the whole family. No matter who you are, where you're going, or why, with 24 trusted brands to choose from like La Quinta, Days Inn, and Super 8, your Wyndham is waiting. Get the lowest price at wyndhamhotels.com. Restrictions apply. Visit website for more details.
Hi there. If you haven't listened to Season 1 of Proof yet, then stop listening to this episode right now. Hit the pause button and go binge listen to the whole season before continuing with this. We'll be here when you're done. All right, so everyone who's still here knows what happened to Lee Clark and Josh Storey, right? Good. But just for a quick recap, back on December 8th of 2022, as a result of the new evidence discovered in our investigation, Lee and Josh were exonerated. The Floyd County DA's office agreed to a consent motion overturning their convictions. The proof team was there in the courtroom when the judge announced that their convictions would be vacated and that they would be free men for the first time in 25 years.
All right, now, I know, again, there are a lot of family and friends in here, and I ordinarily wouldn't do this, but if you want to applaud the defendants and all involved, you may do that at this time.
I'm Susan Simpson.
And I'm Jacinda Davis.
I'm an attorney and investigator.
And I'm a true crime TV producer.
And this is Proof, Season 2, Murder at the Warehouse. Proof is a Red Marble Media production in association with Glassbox Media.
New episodes are released on Mondays, and on Thursdays you can catch our sidebar episodes, where we talk about the case, talk to guests, and tell you more about what's going on behind the scenes. You can find additional materials about this case on our website at proofcrimepod.com. This is Episode 9, a Season 1 update. Truth will reveal itself.
In the 15 months since Lee Clark's and Josh Storey's exonerations, we've spent a lot of time with both of them. And we thought y'all would want to hear from them too, about what life has been like since they were freed. And, as is common for exonerees, life after release has been filled with lots of high points, but also lots of lows. Life is not easy after being behind bars for 25 years, especially when you were a kid when you went in. You'll hear later from Josh Storey. Kevin and Jacinda caught up with him. But first, we'll hear from Lee Clark.
Hey.
Hey.
How y'all doing?
I caught up with Lee over the phone, so excuse the audio. But I talked to him about what it was like to be exonerated and walk free after 25 years behind bars.
That day right there, it was a fun day. It was the most exciting day of my life. But it was exciting, and also at the same time, if this makes any sense to you, it was like kind of being thrown in a blender that was going wide open.
It was so crazy on the outside. I can't imagine how crazy it was in there for you.
Yeah, I mean, you're sitting there. I mean, yeah, all of it is really good. I mean, all the emotions that were running through me was just nothing but pure joy. But just going into all of it, it's like it's just been thrown into a blender. I mean, it was a lot. It was a whole lot to take in.
That evening, all of Lee and Josh's supporters had gone to the Floyd County Jail to greet them as they finally walked out.
Yeah, it was late at night when we got out of there. Oh, yeah, I come out them doors, and my family was standing out there. And the eruption I heard when I come out them doors, and the first person that I ran into that was standing there waiting on me right in front of the line was my grandmother. I'll never forget that day right there.
Hey, boy. Yeah, I got you. I got you.
Since then, Lee has been adapting to the reality of having to restart his life from scratch. The last time he was free, he was 18 years old. It was 1997, and life was very different.
Been doing good since I've been out. It's been a bit of a challenge adjusting to certain things the way they are today. But, I mean, things have been going good with me, though. I mean, it's been a lot of stuff the past year since this went by that really blown my mind. A lot of high points. A whole lot of high points. I can't say that.
Does it feel like time's going faster now?
Oh, it's definitely going faster. Look here, this year that I've been out, I look back at it, it doesn't seem like a year. It seems like I've been out like 2 or 3 months. I just wonder where the year went to. But I have went through a lot in the past year. I lost my grandmother. Her anniversary of her death was just here about a week ago on February 16th.
Yeah. You had nothing came to you easy. You got home from being in prison 25 years, and suddenly you're caretaker to your dying grandma.
Yeah, it was pretty rough. But I'm glad I did get to spend the quality time with her, though. That was good. I know it's something she wanted, and I've been wanting it for a long time, too. Even though we got it under the circumstances we got it under, I'm still thankful to get it, though.
Yeah, I'm glad you were out for it.
Yeah, me too.
Do people recognize you around town?
Oh, yeah. It seems like everywhere I go, I run into people, and they keep telling me, oh, we heard about your podcast. We're so glad you're out. And it's everywhere I go, I get it from everybody. It's just good, though. I love hearing it because I love the people who finally know the truth, you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. I waited a long time for this to come out, and now that it's out, I can't even tell you how thankful I am. I mean, I sit here and look at it, and I just wonder sometimes. I keep just wanting to tell somebody to pinch me really, really hard just to make sure that I ain't dreaming.
What's been the number one hardest thing?
The hardest thing for me has been money since I've been out. That's been the hardest thing for me, just making ends meet.
Just trying to survive day to day.
Yeah, because, I mean, I can't do it out here. I mean, not making the money I make it. And, I mean, what I do, I mean, that's because, I mean, hey, I was sent somewhere for 25 years. I wasn't out here. Didn't get a chance to get no experience at all these jobs and stuff. So, therefore, I can't go into a job. I can't get to a job making good money because I don't have the experience. I'm making experience now, but, I mean, look, we're talking about a year. I mean, we're talking about people that got 15, 20 years experience under their belts. And being the age I'm at, 44, going to be 45, I should have that experience under my belt. But I don't. That's what you deal with on a daily basis, though. I mean,
I know when you first got out, for a while, you were working night shift.
Yeah, that right there was not working at all. I tried that night shift for 3 months, and I felt like I was turning into a zombie every time I changed shift, getting ready to get off.
So what are you doing now?
Hell no, I'm working out really hours now. I like it out there. I work maintenance out there, drum maintenance and stuff. But I'm also thinking in the back of my mind the whole time I'm doing this job, working this job, I'm telling myself, man, here it is. You're 44, finna be 45. You should be a supervisor somewhere. You should be maybe running your own business somewhere. You're supposed to be doing something. And don't get me wrong, I'm not complaining. I mean, I am, but I'm not. You know what I mean? I'm thankful to have the job I've got. But still, I'd like to have something making a lot more money. I mean, I like the direction my life's heading in right now. There's some things in my life that I would like to be better right now. Yeah, definitely. And my biggest thing is, I think it's probably everybody's biggest thing was finances with me. I mean, it'd be different if I'd been out here all these years. You know what I mean? I feel like it would be different. I know it would be. I ain't convinced that if I'd been out here all these years, I'd be doing what I'm doing now. I'd have my own business somewhere right now doing my own thing because I know me. I know what kind of guy I am. So I know I'd be successful somewhere right now doing something. So
I know you've done some traveling, a little bit anyway.
Oh, yeah. Well, I went out to Phoenix out there for an exoneration conference after I first got out back in, I think it was March of last year. Mm-hmm. Went out there. That was really good to go out there and meet all the exonerees. It wasn't just from Georgia. They were all over the United States. People from different states, and just to meet the different innocent projects that were out there and stuff. I mean, just being in the room with all that stuff going on, it's mind-blowing. I mean, you can't understand it till you're in the room and actually feel it for yourself. And then we went down there to Orlando. Me and Amanda went down there with you and Jacinda and Kevin. We went down there for the CrimeCon down there. That was a good experience right there.
Did you just call it CrimeCon?
That's what it was. It wasn't CrimeCon. Wasn't no. It's not CrimeCon, is it? No.
It's CrimeCon.
Oh, yeah, that's what it is. Okay.
And you're going this year to the Innocence Conference, right?
Yeah, down in New Orleans, yeah. Yeah, it's going to be fun there. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. But yeah, we even went up to New York too. Went up there and seen Jacinda and Kevin up there, seen their office up there. And we also went to Savannah, saw you down there. Yeah, that was a fun trip.
I asked Lee what his life had been like 15 months ago, when he was still in prison and uncertain if he'd ever be coming home.
Yeah, my days in prison used to consist just of the day waking up, trying to force myself to go through another day of this, telling myself, well, you have to push yourself through another day of it. And my brain sitting there telling me they want to do another day of it. And I'd sit there and argue with myself all day, back and forth, until around lunchtime. After that, got me about 2 or 3 cups of coffee, and I'd go get my workout in, and then I finally go get my shower and just get in bed. That was routine, I mean. And that ain't no routine, not for an innocent man sitting behind bars. That is not a routine to have every day. That routine right there drives you crazy. You got too much time on your hands, too much time to think. You think about on everything you're missing out on, think about all the ways you're being done wrong. That's all you can think about over and over again. It's an endless cycle. It never ends. But thankfully, though, it ended.
Yeah.
Some people, though, it never ends for.
Have you been listening to season 2, Proof?
Oh, yeah, I've been listening to it.
Yeah.
And what happened to Ty, right there was dead wrong. Jake, too. What happened to both of them, but Ty, that was just dead wrong right there.
Can't be fixed.
No, it can't never be fixed. It can't be set right. That man's life's been took for him. An innocent man sitting behind bars and his life's been took from him. There's nothing you can do to make that right. You can't never make that right. Nobody can. It's just dead wrong.
What are your thoughts on Jake and what's happened to him?
I think it's a tragedy. I think it's an absolute tragedy. I look at Jake and I hear a lot of Jake, way he talks, way he was when he was younger. Jake reminds me of me in some ways and stuff, but Jake's that California kid. That's a lot of stuff we don't have in common, but I do see some of myself in it.
I do too. Y'all are very different people, but I do see some similarities in you.
Yeah, I see a little bit of myself in him, and some of the stuff I see in him is I listen to the stuff he say, it take me back, and it's been I can't imagine what it's been like for him, because I sit there, I look at all this stuff. I mean, I know for a fact that they were in love, you know what I'm saying?
Oh, him and Renee.
Oh, you could tell he loved Renee. I mean, and I sit there and I look at that right there, and I know what it feels like to love a woman, because I got one sitting right beside me right here. I love her something dearly, and I can only think what it would be like being in Jake's shoes. We still sit behind them bars, knowing that you didn't do it, and they accusing you of killing her, because I've been where he's at, so I put myself in his shoes. And I tell you right now, that right there cuts real deep. It's like a dagger in the heart.
Is it hard to listen to it?
Oh, yeah, it's real hard to listen to it. Yeah, it's real hard to listen to it when you know exactly what he's going through, when you know where he's at, because you've been there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's hard to listen to it. My heart breaks for it.
And, of course, he's dealing with something you didn't have to ever deal with, which was the rape charge.
Oh, yeah, you got that in your jacket. I'm telling you what it did for you in there. It ain't a fun place to be. It marks you is what it does. I've seen it firsthand. I've been behind the walls, and I've watched it firsthand in action, and I know what it does. And it's never a pretty sight. And you don't want to, that's one place right there that teaches you to build up walls. You don't ever let that wall down. You don't ever want to let yourself build too much open there, because you already know the feeling of what it feels like to have it snatched from you. And when you feel that one time, trust me, you don't want to feel it again. So you got to put up walls so you don't have to feel it again.
Mm-hmm.
No, you can't never let your guard down. You'll never get a good night's sleep. You won't know what a good night's sleep is. I didn't know what one was 25 years when I walked out that first night. I was out, God almighty, when I laid down, I woke up. I was such a deep sleep. I woke up the next morning. I was tripping out. I was over my dad's laying on this blow up mattress. I woke up flipping out. I said, what is that noise? It took me a minute to register it. It was birds outside chirping. That's how hard I was sleeping.
On that comfy blow-up bed in your dad's.
Or the blow-up man. Yeah, he's better than the prison man, though.
If you could tell Jake something, what would it be?
I would just tell him, just not lose hope, man. I know it's hard to hold on to. I know. Because I went through it for 25 years, man. It's real hard to hold on to. And it gets real thin at sometimes. But you got to have faith, have hope, man. It's gonna work out. And don't never give up. Don't never stop fighting. Don't never stop fighting. Don't never do that. Don't never give in on it. Don't never stop fighting. You stay at it. You just got to have faith it's going to work out. God knows, I mean, there were so many times I just wanted to give up, go in the room, just slice my throat and just let myself to bleed to death right there on the floor. That's what I wanted to do a lot of times. But I didn't ever do that. I stayed headstrong about it. Kept telling myself just one day at a time, one day at a time. I'm going to make this. I'm going to make it. I'm just going to do it one day at a time.
And I think now that he has a connection to the outside world, he knows people knows his story. I mean, was that for you? Was that a comfort? Just knowing, even before we knew where it was going, just knowing people knew?
Oh, yeah. Look, just knowing to me that people was going to know what I had to say right here and was going to hear my side of it, finally. Because nobody never heard nothing from me.
Finally having the chance to tell their stories and to have what happened to them be brought to light changed everything for Lee and Josh. And it changed things for some other people as well. So you've mentioned your lady a couple times now. How about you introduce us?
Okay, hold on just a second here. Let me get her in here. Come here, baby.
Hello.
Hey, Amanda.
Hey, Susan.
Hey, yeah, I know y'all two are well acquainted.
Yeah, we are.
Nice to talk to you again.
Good to talk to you, too.
That's Amanda Bowling. If you've listened to season 1, you've heard from her before. Her brother was Brian Bowling, the boy that Lee and Josh were wrongfully convicted of killing. So, things have changed since season 1, haven't they?
Oh, big time.
Well, I know the two of you knew each other before leaving prison, because we talked about it.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, we did.
And there was one thing that we left out of the show that you told me about how he'd asked you out and you said no.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I did tell you that. Yeah, and he did.
Way before everything.
Yeah, way before everything.
That was back my wild days here, though. She didn't want nothing to do with me.
Oh, goodness.
You know that's the sound of another sale on your online Shopify store. But did you know Shopify powers selling in person too? That's right, Shopify is the sound of selling everywhere, online, in-store, on social media, and beyond.
Shopify Point of Sale is your command center for your retail store. From accepting payments to managing inventory, Shopify has everything you need to sell in person.
With Shopify, you can connect with customers inline and online. Shopify helps you drive store traffic with plug-and-play tools built for marketing campaigns from TikTok to Instagram and beyond.
With Shopify, you get a powerhouse selling partner that effortlessly unites your in-person and online sales into one source of truth. Track every sale across your business in one place and know exactly what's in stock.
Get hardware that fits your business and take payments by smartphone, transform your tablet into a point-of-sale system, or use Shopify's POS Go mobile device for a battle-tested solution.
Susan, what is POS?
It means point of sale, Jacinda, unlike you, who thinks it means something else.
Plus, Shopify's award-winning help is there to support your success every step of the way. Do retail right with Shopify.
Sign up for a $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/prooftruecrime, all lowercase. That's prooftruecrime, all lowercase.
Go to shopify.com/prooftruecrime to take your retail business to the next level today.
Shopify.com/prooftruecrime. Jacinda, this case is making me pull my hair out.
You're telling me. But luckily, there's Nutrafol, and I signed up, and my first order arrived a couple weeks ago, and I started taking it.
Hair thinning is complicated, but the problem is it's much bigger than just hair alone. Like your skin, hair is a reflection of your health, and internal factors can impact the way your hair looks, feels, and grows. Nutrafol's whole body approach multi-targets underlying root causes like stress, hormone fluctuations, and nutrient gaps for visibly thicker and stronger hair.
Stress. We know what that is.
None of that over here.
So if you don't know what Nutrafol is the #1 dermatologist-recommended hair growth supplement with over 1 million people seeing thicker, stronger, faster-growing hair with less shedding. And now I can add myself to that number, so 1,000,001 people.
Thinning hair is different for men and women, so one-size-fits-all approach to hair growth doesn't cut it. Nutrafol has multiple formulas that are tailored to give your hair what it needs to grow based on your biology, life stage, and lifestyle factors. Which is why we both take Nutrafol, and we're going to recommend that Kevin takes it too.
Yeah, I think he needs it more than we do, frankly.
Obviously.
So like me and Susan and now Kevin, take the first step to visibly thicker, healthier hair. For a limited time, Nutrafol is offering our listeners $10 off your first month's subscription. And free shipping when you go to Nutrafol.com and enter the promo code PROOF.
Find out why over 4,500 healthcare professionals and stylists recommend Nutrafol for healthier hair. Nutrafol.com, spelled Nutrafol.com, promo code PROOF.
That's Nutrafol.com, promo code PROOF.
This episode is brought to you by ABC. Station 19 is back for its final and hottest season yet. Andy finally becomes captain, and she's going to give it her all to be the best leader the station has ever seen. Will she succeed? Get ready for fiery new romances and high adrenaline rescues. Watch the Station 19 season premiere Thursday at a new time, 10/9 Central on ABC, and stream on Hulu.
When we first began investigating for season 1, Amanda had known something was not quite right with the way her brother's alleged killers had been prosecuted. Things had not entirely added up. But she'd never doubted that Lee and Josh were guilty somehow of killing Brian. I mean, you went from knowing that Lee killed your brother.
Yeah. To knowing that he was nowhere around, had nothing to do with it. And to be honest, I had a lot of hate for Lee. And I don't know, whenever I found out the truth and everything, you know, all that hate turned to nothing but love for him. And I don't know, it just kept getting stronger and stronger. I mean, you know, and we wasn't even talking or anything, and it just kept growing. And then bam, there it was.
I know, the first time we met, I was so grateful you talked to us, but I know it was hard for you to relive this and hard for you to even consider that people had questions about what was going on with this case.
Yeah.
And I know you were upset at times, but you always kept an open mind.
Yeah, I did, because, you know, I was hearing things for the first time, you know, that I had never heard before, because I was just 17 when all that happened, and Mom and Dad, they tried to keep me shielded from a lot of stuff. So there was a lot of stuff that I didn't even know that had happened or was even going on.
Yeah. So you learned it with everyone else.
Yeah, I sure did. And, you know, it really opened my eyes up to how things really was. I mean, it was to the point that it made me sick for a little while. Mm-hmm. But then whenever I had listened to everything, and at that one point when I watched the video of Dallas, you know, that right there is what did the turning point for me.
When Dallas was tasing the tied up inmate at the jail?
Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Because, you know, I guess I had to see it for my own eyes to believe.
He was capable of doing that kind of thing.
Yeah. So I knew if he was capable of doing that, then I knew he was really capable of doing what he did.
And then, of course, hearing about poor Charlie.
Yeah, poor old Charlie. I mean, that right there was just another heartbreak itself. I mean.
Because you knew Charlie.
Yeah, I've known Charlie my whole entire life. I mean, it really hurt. He used him like he did. You know, it just wasn't right. And I'm glad we got Mr. Mike to come. Y'all got him to come and talk with him, because that right there, he made things so much clearer for everybody.
Yeah.
It still blows my mind thinking about it today.
Now, I know that after you got out, Lee, you didn't see Amanda for a while.
No, I didn't. It was a few months after I got out. I think I'd been out close to 2 months. So one night, Lee, her Uncle Michael, her Aunt Sandy, we all went out to eat up there. And we had such a good time that night. It just, things just clicked for us. I mean, that's when it started for us, I really believe. I mean, it did for me that night, at least. I mean.
Amanda, has it been hard dating someone who's been out of the world for so long?
Sometimes, but, you know, he kind of got the hang of everything, you know. I get a kick out of him on some things.
Would you have ever guessed this would be your life when we first came to talk to you?
No. I never would have thought it. I would have argued up and down and said, nope, it won't happen. But everything has its place and time, and now's the time.
Yes, it is. It is. Definitely time. I love her very much.
And I love him a lot.
Well, it's been quite the year for both of you. And Lee, I know things are going to get easier as the time goes on. The first year is always going to be the hardest.
Yeah, I'm glad to have that first one behind me, too. I'm telling you, I enjoyed it, but it was a rough one, though. I ain't gonna lie to you.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it, but it gave me some knocks along the way, and I do mean some knocks.
Well, in prison, it was hard, but you had the same hard over and over again for so many years.
Yeah.
And suddenly you're out, and you've got a new kind of difficult thrown in every single week.
A whole different ball of wax.
Navigating health insurance, navigating...
that was rough right there.
Jesus.
Not even having any health insurance. That's been rough on me, period.
Yeah.
It's been a good year. Just hope it keeps getting better.
Lee and Josh's case was actually the third case I've worked on down in Floyd County. Before that, I'd also worked on Mitchum Reeves' case for a series on my podcast Undisclosed. Though Mitchum had been released from prison before I was born, so I couldn't help him much with that. But I was able to help him find out who had really committed the murder that he'd been sent to prison for. The very first case I'd worked on in Floyd County, though, was for Joey Watkins. That was season 2 of Undisclosed, back in 2016. And his case had been slowly meandering its way through the legal system since then. In 2022, his conviction was finally overturned, based on what we discovered while investigating for the podcast years before. But Joey was still behind bars, because the Floyd County DA's office said they planned to retry him. But it had been Joey who'd first introduced me to Lee Clark. And yet, now Lee was already home, while Joey was still behind bars. On the night that Lee and Josh were finally released from the Floyd County Jail, there'd been a welcome home dinner planned for them, and we'd been driving down there when my phone rang. I remember we hopped in your dad's truck, drive down there from the jail, and by chance Joey called me. Remember that?
Oh, yeah.
And I remember handing my phone over to you.
I remember what I told him that night. I told him, look, brother, you coming, you're going to be right behind me.
Alvarez Correctional Training Center. To refuse this brief call, you may start the conversation now.
Hello.
Hey, Joey.
Hey.
What's up, brother?
Hey, what's going on?
You know who this is, don't you?
No, I don't know who this is. Where are y'all at now?
We're driving away from the jail.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah?
What's going on, brother?
Hoping to be where you at soon.
You going to be, brother. You're going to get here. We're going to get you here,
I'm
bro.
going to watch you walk out those same doors.
You're coming out.
Just a few more months.
You're coming, son.
Yes,
hopefully with less drama.
Look here, Joey. I done told you this before, man, and I'm going to tell it to you the rest of your life. I owe all this to you, man.
Praise God.
You introduced me to this bulldog that's sitting right beside me right here, and she's a bulldog. She don't play the radio.
Joey told me at first you didn't want to talk to me.
Yeah.
I was a little nervous about talking to anybody.
You didn't want to trust nobody, did you, son?
I had a hard time trusting a lot of people.
Man, you just get out there and do your thing.
We almost didn't think they were going to make it out tonight because the court's order came so late.
Yeah.
The jail and the GDC were like, well, we'll have to wait till tomorrow.
Yeah, for real.
But,
well, I'm glad I'm glad they made it.
Me too.
But yeah, hopefully I won't be far behind.
Oh, you ain't gonna be, brother. You coming, man.
Give it a few months. Lee and I will be back here at the jail.
The day you walk out there, I'm gonna be there waiting on you, brother.
We're gonna help you shake the bars loose, huh?
Yes, indeed.
I'm glad you're home. That's all I can say.
It was less than a month later, on January 3rd, 2023, when Joey's attorneys won him bond, and he came home too. Then, in September, Floyd County decided not to retry him and dismissed all charges.
It exactly come to be just like I told him. He's right behind me.
He didn't believe you. I could hear it in his voice.
I knew it because I felt it. Because one thing you can't hide, you can't keep the truth here forever. The truth's going to reveal itself.
Hey, it's Kaylee Cuoco for Priceline. Ready to go to your happy place for a happy price? Well, why didn't you say so? Just download the Priceline app right now and save up to 60% on hotels. So whether it's Cousin Kevin's Kazoo Concert in Kansas City, go Kevin, or Becky's Bachelorette Bash in Bermuda, you never have to miss a trip ever again. So download the Priceline app today. Your savings are waiting.
Go to your happy place for a happy price. Go to your happy price, Priceline.
Sometime in the early 80s, REO Speedwagon's airplane made an unannounced, middle-of-the-night landing.
This is my friend Kyle MacLachlan, the star of Twin Peaks. And he's telling me about how he discovered a real-life Twin Peaks in rural North Carolina, not far from where he filmed Blue Velvet.
What was on the plane was copious amounts of drugs coming in from South America. Supposedly, Pablo Escobar went looking for other spots, quiet, out-of-the-way places to bring in his cocaine.
My name is Joshua Davis, and I'm an investigative reporter. Kyle and I talk all the time about the strange things we come across, but nothing was quite as strange as what we found in Varnamtown, North Carolina.
There's crooked cops, brother against brother. Everyone's got a story to tell, but does the truth even exist? Welcome to Varnamtown.
Varnamtown is available wherever you listen to podcasts.
Gather round, friend, and join me by the fire. I have a secret to share. When I was a child, I lived with my grandma. She allowed me to watch unsolved mysteries. Fast forward to 2008, my freshman year of college. A series of armed robberies on campus escalated into a serial rapist's reign of terror. That's when I created my first crime podcast. In January 2014, I picked up the podcast again, from my college roommate who fell for an underage girl online, to the chilling story of a murdered nun in 1969 Baltimore, and in the Throwaway series, I share my own journey of overcoming homelessness and how that experience led me to unmask a serial killer and identify 3 of his Jane Doe victims. This is Foul Play Crime Series, where the stories are real and the truth is waiting to be discovered.
Lee Clark and Joey Watkins both have faced a lot of struggles since they came home. It's not been easy. But things have been even harder for Josh Storey.
What's the difference between what you expected life would be and the reality of it? What's the biggest shock for you?
Yeah, it's been hard and it's been eye-opening. The way of the world nowadays is totally different than what it was 25 years ago. But did I think it was going to be as hard as it has been? Hell no. I'm going to be straight up. I did not. One thing that's been hard is when I had that little job, I learned from doing some, double shifts and some 12-hour shifts, is that my back is not nowhere near as strong as it used to be.
Well, you went in at 18, walked out, you were 43
and a half, basically.
It's a big difference from being 18 years old.
Especially when you've been in there and
you've been out for 15 months and, Jacinda and I have spent some time with you and we talk all the time. And I think it's been hard to sort of hold a job and stuff because one, you don't have any job experience. So you're starting off in your mid 40s without anything in your resume. Talk about that.
That's been hard because even up here where I'm at now in Atlanta, which is my new home, it's still the same. You still have the same, obstacles in your way, the same door get put in your face. You don't have no experience.
Yeah. And so you guys are wrongfully convicted, wrongfully imprisoned, and you get out and there's no help at all.
None whatsoever.
And I mean, I remember being shocked by that when it all happened.
Yeah, I was too, really.
One of the things that was eye-opening for me is that when you got out, it was hard just to do basic things. It was hard to get you an ID because to have an ID, you need an address, but you didn't have an address. And then you need a utility bill, but how can you have a utility bill if you don't have an address? And it just felt like this endless loop. And it took so much effort and time just to get simple things like an ID, like a copy of your birth certificate.
Yeah, I was talking to my cousin Steve. We was riding around Rome. He was telling me a story about somebody he knows that just got out on parole, went to a TC. He said, plain and simple, this guy's actually got more support, more services, and getting more from the state than we got, and he's on parole.
It's really hard, right? And on some of your most difficult days, you've told me and Jacinda that in some ways life on the outside has been harder than being in prison.
At least I had a roof on my damn head, and I knew where my next meal was coming from. But I got to thinking, because regardless of whether I don't have a roof on my head or the next meal come from, I have the opportunity to better myself. Where in there, you don't have that opportunity. But
they also don't have frozen margaritas in prison.
Yeah, they don't have frozen margaritas. They don't have beautiful women running around here. But
freedom has meant everything to Josh, but it has been a hard road. At first, things were going pretty good. He got a job, got a routine. Things were okay. But without any kind of safety net or support structure behind him, it didn't take much to have that all fall apart.
I want to take you back for a second, back to January of 23. Okay. And Jacinda and I had helped you move into your new apartment, and the three of us sat there and went over a budget.
Yes.
For how we were going to make this work. And what I remember is this look in your face like,
what's the budget?
Yeah. Because you had never done that. You'd never been an adult on the outside. You lived at home. And I think I knew at that moment, and I think you knew it too, this was going to be really hard.
Yeah, I remember it well. We would sit down on a piece of paper and I was like, man, I was thinking to myself, how am I going to do this? I just didn't really know what to do. And it just got to the point where I couldn't sustain it.
So you got out in January. Like Kevin said, we helped you move into an apartment. You had a job for a couple months. Things were going good. You lost transportation. So you lost the job. And it's been hard since then. From my perspective, it's been hard for you to get back on your feet. Like it's really hard to get to a job when you don't have transportation.
So it's been a hard 15 months. Recently, with Jacinda's help, Josh found a place at a shelter down in Atlanta, where he's now hoping to rebuild his life from scratch.
The point is, though, that you're willing to work. You
I don't mind.
You want a job.
I want a job so bad I can't stand it. Because be like, how you doing, sir? No. I'm broke, man. I'm homeless. I'm homeless myself. Thank you.
And right now, part of you trying to get back on your feet and trying to become, independent is you're in this new program. You're in this shelter in Atlanta.
Mm-hmm.
You're going through some classes. You're headed towards getting a voucher for your own apartment and hopefully a job.
No, I do. I feel very hopeful in that because the program that I'm in actually helps people to actually get vouchers and get in that situation,
Let me ask you something. When you got out of prison, where did you think you would be right now?
It's like I said earlier, I thought I'd have a job. I thought I had some money in my pocket. I thought I had an automobile, and I thought I had, working on my future life. I really did.
And what do you want people to know about how hard it is to have those basic things in your life when your life has been taken for 2.5 decades?
It's very hard. I mean, it's mind blowing sometimes how hard it is. I did not think it'd be this hard. Lee feels the same way as I did. He didn't think it'd be as hard as it was for him. Joey's even mentioned that to me a couple of times too. He didn't think it would be that hard neither. I really surely didn't think it would be this hard.
I think everyone walking around that doesn't lose time like this in prison takes a lot of these things for granted, right? You take relationships for granted, you take work history for granted. And I feel like you've become this example that when you're locked away for this long, it becomes that much harder to get the basic things everybody dreams of in their life.
It's almost like you've been born again and you're learning how to live again, especially when you really never done it to begin with. Because, I literally went from the high school halls to the chain gang bars. My whole experience was that of a teenager, living at home with mom and daddy. And then I get sent off into the concrete jungle.
You got thrown back out.
With nothing.
And you weren't prepared to go into this world.
No, I wasn't at all.
What I know, because Jacinda and I spend time talking to you and we've seen you a bunch in the last 15 months, what I know is how scary this is for you. And I know how mad it makes you sometimes.
Mm-hmm. Well, it gets very frightening because, I'm 44 going on 45. That may not be old, but when you haven't lived, it's very old. And I don't know how much life I got left. They took a lot of it already. Let's say, down the way, sometime we do get compensated or whatever. How much time I got to enjoy it? That's what I'm looking at. That's what's scary to me.
I was going to say, it's been really hard for you, but there have been some good times too.
Oh, yeah. Especially with y'all guys. Oh, it was awesome.
You had your first trip to New York City.
Yes. And I don't want to go back so bad. I can't stand it.
I was on the plane with you when we flew into New York.
Oh, that was awesome. God, that was awesome. I'm like, hey, look at this. I'm like, we're sideways going over to Manhattan. I'm like, oh, man, that's so great.
Another thing you did this year was we were able to go to Nashville with you to record a song in a studio.
While in Nashville, Josh got to professionally record a song. It's available on our YouTube page if you want to listen. And you should. It's really good.
1, 2, 3. Brother jukebox, sister wine, mother freedom, father time.
What was the song you recorded?
It was Brother Jukebox. It was written by Keith Whitley, performed and made famous by Mark Chestnut back in the 90s. It's one of my favorite country songs of all time. The whole setup, singing on recording and having the guy from a well-known country band playing the drums with you, that was so cool, so neat. And to actually hear it playing, through an actual recording studio, I was like, whoa, okay. And then when I saw the video itself, I was like, okay, that ain't bad, actually.
Georgia is one of only 12 states in which there is no guaranteed compensation for the wrongfully convicted. But there is a way to obtain compensation. All you have to do is find a member of the Georgia legislature that is willing to sponsor a resolution for compensation in your name, and then have that bill passed by both the House and the Senate.
So we're hoping that at some point you will get compensated for the years that you spent in prison wrong. Do you think about that?
Yeah, I'm hoping to, like I say, it's correcting a wrong. I won't feel fully that the wrong is being corrected until that happens.
So the Jeff Titus case that Jacinda, Susan, and I worked on, in the state of Michigan, the state provides for compensation for someone that's been wrongfully convicted. And Jeff has already received a payment from the state of Michigan. The state of Georgia doesn't guarantee compensation for someone who's spent time in prison wrongly. And so you have to petition the state for that. And, that's a difficult circumstance. Lee has found a sponsor for a bill in the state house, and you're still looking for a sponsor for a bill in the state house. But talk about how it feels to know that you now have to win compensation. It's not something that's simply provided to you.
I don't think it's fair, because especially if you know and you even admit that, okay, we screwed up, and we just took all these years from these guys. Don't you owe us something? Because, if the situation went on the other foot, they'd feel that way. So that's how I feel about it. I don't think it's fair. I really don't. Because like I said, I know where I would have been at now if not for these past quarter century. I know this. I would not be in some program trying to survive and trying to get a roof over my head. I had, like I said, I had the least amount, if not college or maybe the music scene. I'd have had a job working like my daddy with the construction union. And I'd have been, if not just a regular worker, a foreman by now, making about $40 an hour. I know this. Got no doubt in my mind about this. And that opportunity was taken from me.
And how much of a difference would that money make in your life?
I wouldn't be homeless. I would be, right now, if I had that, I'd be on my way to probably having a great life.
What do you think is going to happen in the next year for you?
Well, I hope it gets better and I can actually start to feel like a man, a man instead of a teenage boy, which is what I feel right now. And I set my path forward to, having a good life and everything else. That's what I'm hoping.
Lee, Josh, and Joey are all home now. They're all free. So 8 years and 4 wrongful convictions later, I'm finally done with Floyd County. For now, anyway. But it's good to be able to go there and visit, just for fun. The night that we were last down there in Rome, and we went to Giggity's, and it was Mitchum and you and Joey and Josh. And it was nice to know that all y'all are finally home.
Yeah, that was a good night. That was a good night there.
Side note, that's also the night that, after we were the only ones left in the bar, Ethan Hawke randomly walked in. I think he'd been hoping to get a quiet drink by himself, but instead ended up drinking with a bunch of recent exonerees. Anyways, it was good to catch up with Lee and Josh again. And later on this season, we'll do an update with Joey Watkins too, so you can hear how things have been for him. But for now, Lee, Josh, and Joey are all continuing the process of rebuilding their lives and doing their best to make up for the years that were taken from them. Oh, and if there's anyone in Atlanta who might have a lead on any jobs that Josh could try applying to, let us know. We'll pass them on to him. Well, I'll be seeing you in a couple weeks in New Orleans for the Innocence Conference.
Definitely. We're looking forward to that.
Yeah.
We will be there.
I'm glad you're home.
I do appreciate it.
If you'd like to help out, check out our website at proofcrimepod.com under the donate tabs for links to both Josh and Lee's fundraising sites. So that's it for episode 9 and Floyd County, Georgia. There's no sidebar this week, but we're back on Monday with episode 10 of season 2, where we resume our investigation into the murder of Renee Ramis. And we'll hear from Lewis's mother about why she believes Jake and Ty are innocent. And we'll also hear from a witness whose testimony was critical to securing the conviction of Ty Lopes.
You've been listening to Proof, a podcast by Red Marble Media in association with Glassbox Media. We'll be back next week with episode 10. Send us your questions and comments at proofcrimepod@gmail.com. We'll respond during our bonus episodes, Proof Sidebar, on Thursdays. Kevin Fitzpatrick is our executive producer. Our webmaster is Clayton Brawley, and our theme music is by Ramiro Marquez. Audio production for this episode is by Michael Ulatowski. Our archivist is Amory Davis. Our social media manager is Skylar Park. And thank you to our sponsors who make this podcast possible. Check out the show notes for special sponsor deals. And follow us everywhere with the handle @ProofCrimePod and on our website, proofcrimepod.com.
And lastly, a note to our listeners. If you have any information related to this case, we'd love to speak to you, no matter how small a detail it may seem. It just might be more important than you realize. You can reach us by email or leave us a voicemail at 929-267-3172.
That's all for this week. Thanks so much for listening.